All right, welcome to the 27th episode of CROM Updates. I am joined by Drawnsword, who is a guest artist on my upcoming CROM the Barbarian Collected Revised Edition, which he supplied this amazing CROM the Barbarian pinup, which will also be used for a limited edition or limited time offer Virgin cover. But in the meanwhile, as we're waiting on me to get the CROM completed, and at the end of this episode, I'll fill you in where I'm at. You and I did a little old school boyhood trading of comics, which is a good fun thing to do, even at this ripe old ages that we're at right now. I do remember. Did you have a buddy or two when you were growing up, where you would make a comic and then you guys would trade them, or at least trade off comics?
Yeah, a friend at school. I don't know, intermediate level school. We would draw a page a week and swap pages.
Oh, yes.
And he had a comic going and I had a comic going.
Yeah, see,
yeah.
It's such a. It seems like the more people I talk to they have that in their past, because there's just something. There's some kind of mechanism that happens to us that, you get a couple comic books and watch a couple cartoons and you just start coming up with your own ideas. And it's obviously based on those comics and those cartoons. So, it was always good times and everything. But you have been gracious enough to send me this is Torrid, which you did in 1996. And then 2018, you said you were working on, it's Thyne, right? A bounty hunter comic. Yeah. Just so much in pencils. And then I was able to get you a copy of Savage Sword of Conan 74 you'd been looking for. And then a copy of Gardner Fox's Kothar, Barbarian Swordsman. So, do you want to share, because you had said that you wanted to see if the Val story in Savage Sword was pencil or not. You want to open that up and we can flip through that story?
Yeah.
Were you disappointed?
Oh, no, not at all. No, it's awesome that way.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like it could be some kind of charcoal pencil, carbon pencil.
Yep.
Or
very
it could
dark.
actually just be. Yeah, it looks like pencil to you.
It seems like a combination between pencil and I think those dark areas might have been inked in, maybe with a wash, because they're really super flat. But that's also to the printing process that they would have had back then. So it would have just taken the darkest area and just flattened it, made it black. So, but yeah, his work was always a gem to get in Savage Sword.
Yeah, some of this texture here looks like it's graphite. It's hard to tell.
Because Alfredo Akala would do that at times. Like he had that heavy lining in texture, with the pen brush. But then there'd be sometimes where there would be things outlined kind of in ink and then filled in with almost like a black color pencil or something to that extent. So, they were definitely playing around and experimenting.
Well, I tried asking him. I think he was on Graham, the Bane creator, Graham Noland. He was on his channel and being interviewed, and I was trying to ask him that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he was watching the chat, but
Oh, okay.
I've had this
Darn.
conversation on Richard Friend's channel. A bunch of guys, I started talking about it, and all these other people chimed in, and they all had different opinions on what he was using for this.
Isn't that how it is?
Yeah. But yeah, it could be some sort of ink with an ink wash, you know. It does have an appearance of graphite.
It does. It does.
I was quite happy to find that Gene Day's in this as well.
It's such a pack. It's a Joe Jusco cover, and then he's got that, and then Gene Day, in the back.
Right. Yeah.
I remember buying that off the magazine rack in the newsstand. I mean, couldn't wait to get home. Couldn't pedal my little feet fast enough. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you got the whole collection, or?
I did it once. Yeah, I did it once, and I don't know what happened. I think I might have traded out for some heavy metals, but then at that same time, they started putting out Conan Saga, and those had some, it was basically just mishmash reprints of the covers and the contents.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like it wasn't like it wasn't from starting with that issue 1 and moving. They were just grabbing stories and backups and just filling it up and throwing a cover on there and going. So, every time I have a big bin, it's just chock full of Conans. But yeah, when I was 14, I had been going to a comic book store like a few miles away. So I had to ride my bike, bring a backpack. And my brother and I went out one Saturday afternoon, or morning, I should say. We were getting there. There was going to be a tent sale. And so there were all these flyers talking about back issues and cheap quarter comics. It was just like, it was going to be an all-day event to me, right? And so I come flying in. I jump off my bike. And I land on my knees in front of a short, long box. And I just immediately start flipping through it. And it's all of the Savage Tales and the first maybe 100 issues of no, it wasn't. It was the first 50 issues of Savage Sword of Conan. And so I was like pulling these out and looking at them, and I was just blown away. Never seen anything. I mean, I was collecting the regular Conan the Barbarian. And the guy that was doing the tent sale came up and said, how much do you have on you? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, how much money you got? And I was like, and of course I'm a kid. So I go, $20. And he goes, I'll take it. You can have all those. Like right then. And I was like, and it was like, what? Now, this is 84, right? I think it was 1984. So $20 would have gone a long way if I had handpicked through stuff. But I ended up with like 75 comic books, Conan comics. But this was the thing. My brother had to carry half of the books on his backpack going home. So he got it. And it ended up being a little shorter of a day there. But that always sticks with me. And of course, always found them at the magazine newsstand near me. When was the first time that you got a hold of it?
I think it was around when I was about 15 or maybe a little younger, and this newsagent where I got my 2000 AD, they had those little pocket comics, little mini ones.
Yes.
It had a reprint of a bunch of Barry Smith stories.
I had
those early ones he did. Yeah, it was one of those.
It was the one where it was Conan and Elric.
I don't know if Elric was in that one.
Elric had like a pointy
I since got a bigger version of it. I'll just pull it out. Is this one?
Wow.
It's got these stories. Is that backwards to you? The elephant, the Tower of the Elephant, Zukla's daughter, Devil Wings over Shadowzar. You know, it was a miniature comic of this. You probably recognise the art here.
Oh yeah. Great stuff. Oh,
yeah, that's what really captured me. That one,
yeah.
And it's,
yeah.
I remember I did a school project where we had to do a comic, and I borrowed quite heavily from this. Did you draw from yours?
Oh, we all have. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. I still am.
So were you
I can't.
Yeah. I mean, I like John Buscema as well, but I also like Barry's stuff. Isn't that awesome? That cover.
Oh gosh, yeah. Oh yeah. I redrew that. His Barry Windsor Smith. He just really broke the mold of like what comics were looking like up until that point. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, he bounces between like his own emerging style and Jack Kirby. So it was like 1 foot in traditional comics, if you will, but then this other like just radical.
Yeah. He used to draw like Kirby a bit, didn't he, in the early days?
Yes, he did. I think everybody had to.
I recently got another one. This collection of his stuff, early stuff too, which was really good. And I got another one as well because they re-released the whole thing, didn't they?
Yeah, Red Nails is there's an artist edition of that out there by a third party company. That's on my little dream list. I think they're about I think they're like over $100 now. But one day,
is that a color one?
That'd be no, that's just the black and white. The Red Nails story that he did.
Yep.
It was in 2 issues.
Yeah.
But no color.
That's amazing,
black
isn't
and
it?
white. Oh gosh, yeah. That's one I've actually redrawn entire pages just because I couldn't concentrate on one little area. You know, I just had to know all about everything he was, thinking, making those pages and figures and action. Whew.
Yeah. Well, you came into...
Go ahead.
Oh, when you came into all those Savage Swords of Conan's, you were quite young.
Yeah, it was. I was pretty much never interested in anything outside of like black and white comics, ninjas, and Savage Sword of Conan, like just fantasy. It just that was always the way I just gravitated to material. Seeing. I remember watching late at night on weekends when they were running the trailers for Conan the Barbarian. And I was kicked out of 4 movie theaters when that movie was released. It was the toughest movie to see. I don't think I actually I didn't get to see it in the theater. But when it came out on VHS, I put the money down to get it then, and then I burned that tape out in like 2 months, and then had to buy another one.
Yeah.
And for my birthday, every year I watch that movie.
Yeah. There was a few sword and sorcery type movies back then, eh? In the early 80s. Yeah. I was thinking of, what is it? With that jagged boomerang thing. Was it Caius?
Oh yeah, Krull.
Krull, yeah.
I saw that in the movie theater. Yeah, no.
I wasn't thinking of Krull. Doesn't matter. There's Beastmaster and.
Oh yeah, Beastmaster. Oh my gosh, man! I mean, we had it. We had them. I mean, that was the thing. And then Sho Kosugi ninja movies. Death of the Ninja, Enter the Ninja. I mean, at Black Belt Theater. Yeah. I mean, I was never without. And then
I went and saw that Kill or Be Killed.
Yes. Now, one of the things we got a hold of on there were cable channels, or there was UHF is what they refer to here, was Japanese animation. So Battle of the Planets and Battleship Yamato, but that was Star Blazers. Did you guys get any of the Japanese animation because you're in New Zealand and so close to them?
I don't think so.
No?
I didn't really. Was that a TV thing?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really see a lot of television, but I was just totally out of the loop with any kind of animation.
Okay.
Because I didn't watch TV as a kid much. Just at friends' places I'd see a bit.
Yeah.
I was one of those kids who was sent to my room. I wasn't allowed to hang around and watch TV.
Yeah, I too was spending a lot of time in my room because of shenanigans.
Yeah, I think that helps you become creative,
Yes, that's very true. It was the best thing to do was send me to my room. That frustrated the hell out of my parents. So you have the Kothar, and you said you had been you started reading the first. Did you get through the first story?
Yeah, what can I show you here? I'm up to where that bookmark is.
Okay, so you're like halfway through the second story then.
I'm up to here, the treasure and the labyrinth.
Nice. Yes, treasure in the labyrinth. Yeah. So just so everybody really knows, it is. It's Kothar, and there's Kyrick and Nile of the Far Travels. Those were the paperbacks, but Gardner F. Fox and John Junta in 1950 had made the first sword and sorcery comic book character named Crom the Barbarian. So he was always into the sword and sorcery stuff. Big Conan fan. Huge. So, but what did you think?
Oh, it's great. It's really fast moving. It keeps you on the edge, It's right. Constantly on the edge, really, in that fast-moving action and story. It uses a lot of exotic language here and there, which gives it a fresh spin.
Yep. Now, when you read, do you get visuals, or do you have like new fresh ideas? Like what happens when you read, especially fantasy stories?
Yeah, I do get visuals. Yeah, I'm imagining it. Yeah. Um, I mean, sometimes you're not quite sure how he's, he is describing it, but you kind of make it up how it might look, but you're not really sure if it was supposed to look like that or not.
Right, right.
Like I'm thinking of that scene where he's in there under the sea cavernous thing,
Right.
and he's climbing up the wall and he's trying to throw what was it? This mermaid made mantle or something over top of oh heck, what was it? He's throwing something
It's
over.
kind of, was it a cloak
Forget
over
now.
the it was like this big anchorous slime sluggish thing.
Yeah, and he's sort of just got some footing, in one hand on his sword,
Right.
holding his sword. Yeah, yeah, it's difficult to imagine that, but I think I did.
I really do think Fox, when he did his paperback stories, he really kept with the comic book tone. He would just give it a little bit more verbose description and, like you said, colorful wording and phrasing. But yeah, it just almost like nonsense in a way, but just good fun. So
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
don't take yourself too seriously.
There's a bit of humour in there too, or it
Yep.
kind of comes across humorous, some of it.
Right.
I
There's a
think it
lot of
was
real.
intended, yeah.
There's a lot of characters too.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're
Um,
constantly like Red Lori, this the sorceress. He has all these visions and almost like fantasies of her, and he's worried that she's watching him from her golden cage and setting these things up and everything. I mean, it's a pretty good, subsurface level layer story.
yeah. Yeah, I like the way how he's done the sword. There's a bit of mystery to it. Um, I guess it's something you can draw on as you go with the series. But I was surprised that it's set in another planet. Why it even needs to be, because it sounds like Earth.
When the thing I believe is that they were trying to steer clear of getting sued by Glenn Lord, who controlled the Conan property. So
Oh, I
um,
see.
I think there was always because he's blonde and it's just all these little flips and reverses. You do enough to a copyrighted piece of material that it's no longer infringing. So I think to be able to give it a otherworldly place, yeah, kind of, it's one more thing that keeps them out of trouble if that was to ensue.
Yeah, that
That's my
makes sense.
guess. Right. Now, I was lucky enough, and I have to thank you once again for sending your comics my way. We had talked about this on previous episodes of Updates, and of course, now that I'm coming to a completion with Crom the Barbarian Collected Revised Edition. The follow-up publication I'm looking to get into is called CROM Anthology, where there'll be continuations of Crom material, and I would like to get the the guest artists that I had come in and do pinups / covers, for the Crom Collected. some space, and a chance to be published. The Torrid, you're at 96, you're 25, right? Around there.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So because we are same age, but I'm telling you, it's like not only is the story, I believe, very well done, but the way you handled it as a publication is so well thought out. So I really have to applaud you
Really?
on it. So yeah.
Oh.
The fact, and then I do like the way you go about rendering women. A lot of comic book guys in the beginning, myself included, like it's almost like females are rendered as softer versions of males with boobs. But yours has nothing to do. You don't have anything to do with the masculine forms or anything with your female character, the lady. I read it. I've read it twice so far, and I've enjoyed it. And then you were doing like advertising spots. So I mean, this is a full blown publication out your way, then, right?
Yeah, it was just sort of something you did in the zine scene where you would throw in a bunch of flyers with your zine you're sending out or comic, and people would trade ads, and it was a way of networking and getting your stuff out there. But I had a few zines that I actually contributed to as well. And I throw in my own ads for my art services too.
Yeah. And then you get this. This is the center spread, so it's just woo, so well done.
Yeah.
Now, do you still have the original art for this?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I did a lot of those pieces A3 size, and in the previous comics. In my previous comics, I had like a pin-up section with a lot of pieces like that.
Right.
I think there's a couple in there. I think I put it out on the blacks here, in the detailing on the last few pages.
I think that's something that happens to all the best of anybody. I don't even want to say the us. It's you see it in the industry, often and not, because you just if you're not getting paid, it's also just a kind of thing where you're trying to keep things moving. But were you like heavily influenced by 2000 AD? Is that basically the thing that's kind of feeding you some inspiration, or was there other material that you were pulling from?
At the time, I wasn't reading 2000 AD, but I'd already been influenced by 2000 AD. I think I was quite smitten with Stephen Platt.
Oh, okay.
You know who he is? With
I do.
He had Prophet coming out.
Prophet.
I was reading Prophet and Evangeline at the time, and probably a few sort of independents, because I used to go through the previews catalogue, and anything that looked kind of black and white underground, I would order it up. So I had all kinds of things going on, just lesser known things.
Right.
Yeah, I think I was checking out a bit of image stuff, but in '96 I think it was starting to peter out. I think Rob Liefeld had already started that Maximum Press.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say Boba Fett was a big influence, because Torrid's a bounty hunter.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I also found that there's a lot of variety, especially like you do a lot of not a lot. Occasionally you'll do like down shot views, but I mean, you're really. I mean, this is considered one of your first publications, right, for comics?
Oh no, that was the last one that I published.
Okay, in this
Yeah.
area, right?
No, there were 4 other comics that I put out before that one.
Oh,
Is
okay.
that what you mean?
All right.
And
Yeah,
I've
yeah. I
done.
mean, well, I mean, so go ahead.
I did more after this one, but I never published it. There's quite a bit of other stuff, and there was 2 serials that ran in some zines as well that were published, but there was a Torrid story, and there was a sword and sorcery type one that I did. I think I did 2 pages for each zine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this would have been somebody else, like a trade, because this says P.J. Wilson.
Oh, that was a local guy, a friend of mine that did that. He drew a comic as well. He made a couple of comics, and we met through the mail, and he was living in Christchurch City, and I moved down there, and we were going to do this crossover with his character and mine, but it never happened.
So many great ideas.
Yeah. I was going to do a crossover with an American guy too, Russell E. Evans. He did this comic called something like Deathstalker. I forget the name of it. I've got it somewhere. Actually, it might have been called Blood something. And I thought we would just hand it off to each other, so I started it, sent it to him, and I never got any answer back. I mean, I never got his side.
Right.
Yeah. He had a comic in this zine that we were both in with 2 pages each time it came out, and we decided to do this crossover. Yeah, so his art was amazing. Just really, he was, I thought he was much better than me.
Yeah, life can get in the way, or he might have ended up getting other projects. Paying big money projects.
I haven't been able to find him on the net all these years later.
Yeah, so he hasn't done anything then.
I've seen him mentioned, but nothing from today, recent times.
All right. So with Thyne, right? That's how we say it, right?
Yeah.
Now
How'd you find that?
What? This?
Yeah.
No, you sent me this.
Yeah, I know. How did you find it to read?
Yeah. No. Oh, I love it. I love it. It's now the thing that threw me off at first is like I got the packages, and then I tore them open and then just started flipping through. So I flipped through this one, then I flipped through this one, And then I sit down a little bit later and I go through the two and I'm like, wait a second. I think this is like the sketchbook version of this. So is that true? This is like the preliminary for this? Or this was something that then just ended up becoming Thyne?
Well, the one on the left is what I drew first, but I was doubting the character and things, and I decided I didn't want his transport to be that dinosaur creature, and so I redrew it again and he's got a bike.
Right.
What are those? I call them skimsters. I remembered what I called them now.
Air bikes.
Yeah.
Hover bikes.
And
Yeah.
I think I might have changed some other elements in the story. I forget now, but
okay.
so I was a bit stupid, really. I redrew the whole thing just to. I wish I hadn't done that, and I just kept going with it. Because the story's not even finished. This is just the first chapter or something, you know.
Wow.
So I basically drew the same story twice with a few changes.
Whew. But that's still good. I mean, it's an excellent way to, top your game up. Jake and I talk about it on Turbo Pit Fighter. Is if you can go a second time through your story, it's just going to get tighter and you're going to improve on it. So, and I did notice, a leveling up, when you hit this version here, but there were so many things that I could see you were working on. The biggest question I have, Drawnsword, is do you anticipate having something going on in the background, or is it just something you feel more confident having it, white blank, because, here we have two, planets,
Yeah, I like the idea of sometimes leaving them blank, you know. I mean, it takes off the workload, but
That's true.
you know, it just, I think someone was talking about it over the years recently, and they were saying about you really only need one panel on the page that's the money shot, that you go to town on.
Yeah.
But I'm just addicted to putting detail in everywhere, so if I left a bit out, that's probably good. I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, compositionally, like just going to the Crom pinup you did, obviously we're dealing with a forest, you got Crom coming in, we got the, the alien queen creature, and then there was a female. But then you even went ahead and put like another, say human type, caught up in the spider's web back there. So the depth finding that this is going.
There's a couple in there, I think. There's another one.
Yeah, because there's one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and so I mean I don't see any issue in having too much detail, especially when it's, and you do this really well, that this proves, my point statement that you do it because you want to support this as a whole. It's not just like, oh, I have to put clouds or another mountain or a planet in there. It's like you do it to support the, what's happening in the story at this point.
Yeah.
I think the other thing too is your this is great, but your sound effects. They're more predominant in this one. But I love the way you do the treatment of your sound. Look, it's like a big old chicken bone there, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love that. Yeah, and then you had there's some great stuff here, working out fine. This is great stuff, Drawnsword.
Oh, thanks.
Now, are you still working? Are you still working like in an interest, since it was like, you had kind of jumped away from it because of was it COVID hitting and everything, or just other things coming along?
Well, I started to doubt the character's motivation, and I just came up with a better character, so he sort of evolved into something else. And
Okay, so that's what's going on right now.
Yeah, I'm working on a new comic that
Okay.
since about 2020 actually was when I came up with them. There was one little character I had in between, but he didn't last long. And then I haven't, it's been going on for the last since 2020, but I haven't changed him, so that must mean I've finally found the character that works for me, in the world. And I'm 24 pages in with it.
Oh, good. All right.
Yeah, I showed you the splash page last time.
Yep.
The opening page. Yeah.
I think it's very relevant to both of these, working out A, character, B, setting, and then obviously the two things together, and the interaction with the hostile planet, that one eats his mount and the one eats his bike. Yeah, I mean, I'm super interested in seeing what your current project comes together, and we'll see what we can do in providing some promotional value, maybe with CROM Anthology, getting it in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be good when I get this art book finished, Scoundrel's Dread, and I'll just be full on doing the comic.
How much more do you have on Scoundrel's Dread?
Well, I'm just started redoing the cover, but I'm making it a wraparound cover.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. I been playing with, over the week or so, I've been playing with different ideas, and I've come across something I think's going to work, and I've lightboxed it in, and I've just started rendering it, filling it in. So once I get that done, I'll start organising how the pages are going to go, the order of the pages, and then I'll start scanning it.
Sweet. All right. Well, we are coming around the 45-minute marker. We like to try to keep these as bite-sized videos as possible to let people get back to reading comics, making them if they choose. Drawnsword, do you have anything you'd like to say on the out here this evening?
Oh, thanks very much for having me on, and
always
glad you enjoyed the look at my comics stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so the big news I have is this is a Friday evening for me. Saturday and Sunday is completely devoted to putting the final touches on the artist proof for Crom the Barbarian comic revised edition. So my goal at this point is to get artist proof copies with your cover art on them out to the guest artists coming this Monday or Tuesday, if everything goes well through tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. So be on the, I will send you an email notification when that does happen, because then the next time I have you on, we'll be reviewing Crom the Barbarian collected, your cover, pinup, and I'm going to be looking for feedback. So, because then from the feedback I get from all the guest artists and Jake, my partner on Turbo Pit Fighter, I will then put the final touches on it, and it will then go to release, and everybody will be able to purchase. So, which I'm really hoping to get off the ground in the beginning of July. So those are my big announcements right now.
Cool.
So,
Wow.
but other than that, like I said, I look forward to catching up with you, seeing your amazing art. I find it to be very original in a voice from somebody who has a very big passion for the sword and sorcery and the space, and it's very exciting to be working with you and talking with you, and I look forward to the next time.
Oh, excellent. Thanks, Kurt.
All right, well, have a good one, Drawnsword. We'll see you.
Okay.